A year has passed since the Iranian military shot down a Ukrainian civilian plane. Let's remember other times when civilians were targeted by military missiles. Year 2014. Boeing -777, Donetsk. A Malaysian Airlines civilian plane flying MH, Amsterdam, Kuala Lumpur, was shot down at an altitude of meters by a Buk missile. 298 people died. The liner was shot down in a military confrontation between the government forces of Ukraine and the military formations of Donetsk and Lugansk regions. Officially, the guilty party has not been established, although the suspected persons have been identified. Year 2001. To -154m, Black Sea. The airliner of the Siberia Company was performing the Tel Aviv, Novosibirsk flight, but after almost 2 hours of the flight it fell into the sea. All 78 people who were on board were killed. The investigation showed that the plane was unintentionally shot down by an S-200 air defense missile launched by an air defense brigade of the Ukrainian armed forces during a joint Russian-Ukrainian military exercise. 1988, Airbus, Persian Gulf. The Iran Air airliner was flying Tehran-Dubai, but 7 minutes after taking off from the Bandar Abbas intermediate point, it was hit by a surface-to-air missile launched from a US missile cruiser. All 290 people on board were killed. According to the official version, the civilian aircraft was mistaken for the F-14 of the Iranian Air Force. However, in this case, there are too many questions that have not been answered. The US did not claim responsibility for the mistake, but nevertheless paid huge compensation to all the relatives of the victims of the disaster. 1983, Boeing 747, Sakhalin. The plane of the Korean airline flew on the route, New York, Anchorage, Seoul, and its route passed in the neutral waters of the Pacific Ocean. For unknown reasons, the airliner began to deviate from the course and entered the closed airspace of the USSR, flying over Kamchatka and several military objectives, and then over Sakhalin. The deviation from the course was 500 km. The Soviet fighter interceptor caught up with the civilian plane and fired more than 200 warning shots from the cannon, while being, nevertheless, out of sight of the liner pilots. At the same time, the shells were armor-piercing, not tracer, and they were not visible. When a signal was received from the leadership to destroy the liner, 2 air-to-air missiles were fired at it. The plane crashed into La Perouse Bay, killing all 269 people on board.